Hey everybody, how's it going? So today I'd like to cover this interesting little piece of COVID news in New York City, which is that restaurants will be allowed to have customers after midnight. So they had a curfew, and I believe that curfew was midnight. And the whole idea here is that if you go to a restaurant before midnight, you won't transmit COVID or die of COVID. Whereas if you eat at a restaurant after midnight, you will spread COVID or die of COVID. So what they did, after coming to this scientific realization that COVID tends to kill and be far more potent after midnight than before midnight, because it's scary like that, is they limited the restaurant's ability to do business to before midnight. Now, this was something that I was somewhat confused about, because what I think is going to happen if you have a curfew for the restaurant at midnight is that more people will go to the restaurant at the same time, before midnight. So with COVID, one of the things that is said to be important is social distancing, keeping people apart from each other. And it's easier to keep people apart 6 or 10 feet away from each other when the people when there's less people in the room. So if you have more people in the room, it's more difficult to keep them further apart. Now, what happens with subways or buses when you say the last subway will be at 9:30 p.m. or 11:30 because we're going to be doing work in the tracks? What tends to happen is that instead of that 9 o'clock subway having its normal amount of passengers, it'll often have 2 to 3 times as many passengers and be way more crowded because people don't have the option of taking the 11 o'clock or the midnight or the 1 a.m. or the 2 a.m. or the 3 a.m. They all know we need to leave here at this time if we want to get home. So the train is much more crowded. And what I imagine is you may have people that want to go out to eat at 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. But instead of going out to eat at 12, 1, or 2, because of the curfew, they know that if they want to have their night out, they need to have their night out before midnight. So you have more people going out within the same time period. And if you have more people going out in this time period, so if you take all the people that want to go out in this time period and you compress it to this time period, you will have more people in the room during this time period. Therefore, less social distancing. So that's one of those things that was confusing to me. So it says that the last of the coronavirus era restrictions on bars, restaurants, and catering businesses are coming to an end in New York. Starting tonight, restaurants and bars in New York City can serve past midnight. It comes as COVID positivity rates in New York and New York State are below 1%. Governor Andrew Cuomo has predicted that the lifting of the curfews will lead to increased economic activity and growth for struggling businesses. At Tin Martin, business is looking brighter for co-owner Henry Gonzalez. Thank God everybody is back. Our whole staff is back. And we added new people as well, Gonzalez said. He will likely need the extra help as the city lifts the curfew for indoor dining. New York isn't New York unless it's after midnight, said Leah Magunin. The decision to lift the curfew, like so many others in the past year, was based on the numbers. COVID positivity rates in the city and state are at a record low. So far, nearly 16 million vaccine doses have been administered in New York. And indeed, if you look at the COVID positivity rates, they have been going down and down and down, proving that indeed, after all, COVID really does spread more after midnight. So I guess our Emmy Award-winning governor was correct. So it says, most restaurant owners say the extra outdoor dining space will help boost business. So far, the city plans to keep the makeshift outdoor dining spaces. And as I've gone over in some of these videos, you have a lot of these outdoor dining spaces where what they do is they, on one hand, you have sensible outdoor dining, which is where, COVID's more is a respiratory thing. It's more likely to spread when you're in a room with recirculated air or air that's old and stale. If you're outside, it's much less likely to spread because you got all this place for the COVID to go other than it just going to the person next to you. So they would put a table and a chair outside, outdoor dining. And then because, you don't want people to get splashed as the cars go by, you'd have table, chair, little wall, just a little wall to protect yourself from the street. Outdoor dining. Then, we got a wall, might as well put a couple of other walls. Maybe a ceiling, a roof, a door, windows. And then it became this, where what you did is you built a shed on the street with no ventilation outside of your restaurant. And because it's outside your restaurant, even though it's a completely encapsulated, unventilated structure, it's outdoors. So, and that's where you get this. And I've gone over many of these, which are confusing and ridiculous and trolling and just like, again, this is this is what you get with New York City and state regulations. You get people building houses on the street that are unventilated so that they can call it outdoor dining. But I understand why they're doing it. I understand why they're doing it. As I've gone over in some of my other videos, when you come to New York, you may think that you are getting a 1,800 square foot space because that's what's advertised. And then if you show up and measure it, it's very likely in many cases that instead of 1,800 square feet, you're actually getting 838, which is less than half.
It's not me. It's the way it's listed.
Sure, lady. Sure. So many people in my comments have been saying that perhaps the reason they are building these houses on the street is not even for coronavirus, but simply so that they could get the amount of real estate that they were told they were getting when they signed their initial contract. Excuse me, when they signed their initial contract, which makes sense. I get it. Maybe these restaurant owners signed a contract for 2,000 square feet. They finally had some downtime for COVID. They measured. It's like, wait, we're only getting 1,000? Screw that. We're going to get that 2,000 one way or the other. But yeah, this is this kind of, I don't know. I don't get it. I didn't get it for most of the year. I didn't get a lot of the stuff for most of the year. Got the mask wearing. Mask wearing made sense. Got the, vaccination thing made sense. This whole outdoor indoor dining thing, this whole like COVID attacks after midnight but not before. It didn't make sense. It really made no sense. And I'm kind of happy to see some of these restrictions going away. I've been reading comments on sites where they say, I can't believe they're taking these away so soon. Why are they taking them away so soon? This doesn't make sense. And it's like, the virus doesn't care if it's 10 p.m. or 2 a.m. It doesn't give a shit. I never learned that in school. Maybe that's because I wasn't an epidemiologist, but it's just, this wasn't part of my education. This wasn't part of anything that I ever saw prior to this. But what I do see, and what I have seen on many of my bike rides home that you are privy to both before COVID and after COVID, is you can see how when they tell the restaurant that they have to close at midnight, you see how many people are in that little shed before midnight. Because they're all going to packed in, they're all going there at this time. Because if we want to have a night out, well, they're going to close at 12, so we got to hurry and get there right now. And you'll see a lot of people next to each other that may have not been next to each other if they had the opportunity to go a little bit later. So I'm personally happy to see that the pieces of, I don't even want to call it legislation because they never really passed this as legislation, are going away. Because a lot of these things did not make sense back then. And I'm kind of happy to see that the case rate and the death rate appears to be going down further and further down as more and more people get vaccinated. And this is a good thing. I'm happy to see this. I'm very happy to see this. And I hope for the love of God that as time goes on, we see less of this. Because this is just like, this is just reminiscent of a time when we collectively lost our minds and just, oh my God, I could go my life without seeing another outdoor shed outside pretending to be outdoor dining. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. See you all in the next video. Bye now. Remember when Jimmy Wales would go on Wikipedia and give you this really guilty face asking you for money? We're going to start doing the same thing here. Not for money, but for solutions. So I have a wiki here, repair.wiki, and on this wiki, my goal is to add lots of pages like this for all different types of devices, not just MacBooks, not just iPhones, where you have a bunch of common problems. So these are the most common problems that happen with the device, and these are the most common solutions. They're not generalized solutions where it's like check circuit. They are specific solutions and specific check here, check what voltage is here, if this, then try that kind of thing. Now, what I am asking for all of my subscribers is for people to put solutions in here for all different types of devices. So the way that I found all of these is, staying up until 3 or 4 in the morning, banging my head against the wall until I learn them all. And someone who brings a device to someone else, they may not have that solution. And if they don't have that solution, they don't have the time to bang their head against the wall for a few years figuring it all out, they may not be able to fix the product. That makes repair a less viable option for that customer. It means that shop will not make as much money. It means that the consumer, if they wish to do a do-it-yourself repair, will be less likely to do a do-it-yourself repair and more likely to throw the device out. What we're about at Repair Preservation Group is as many people as possible getting involved in the field of repair, getting involved in repair itself as a process. And the way I want to do that is by taking all the knowledge from all these little corners of the world that's stuck in people's heads and putting it somewhere. So that if someone brings a MacBook to another shop that's not mine, that the information is not stuck in my head. That shop will not have to tell that customer, I can't fix this problem. They could look at this list and go, this is on the list. Now I know this may be economically viable. I can check for it. I can fix it. Yeah, we can fix it for you. That customer will think better of repair. That shop will be better off because of it. That device will not be in a landfill. And if someone wants to fix it themselves, the knowledge is here. So I've added a lot of content to this wiki for all different models of MacBooks. But at this point in time, I'm really 99% of the content on this wiki has been created by me. So what I'm asking of all of you is contribute, add a page. For instance, the iPhone section is very sparse here. So if you're good at iPhone board repair, add something. If you're good at Samsung Galaxy board repair, add something. If you're good at repairing whatever type of device it is that's not on here, consider adding a little guide. Whatever time it took you to figure something out, one of the things that I enjoy is knowing that someone else is not going to take 80 hours to get to that solution, but that they'll find it in 20 minutes. And there may be something out there that took you 40 minutes to fix, or 3 hours, or 5 hours to fix, that someone else may be able to fix in 5 minutes because you shared information on it. This is a little pet project of mine, and I'd like to get to the point where, at least within the consumer electronics and device industry, where I can actually start compensating people financially for producing top tier good articles similar to the article that you see here. So if someone is able to make articles like this for other popular cell phones or laptops and they're good content, I'd like to get this organization to a point. This is a separate organization from the 501c4. This is the 501c3, where that organization can actually compensate people for creating stuff like this and kind of get it rolling. So let me know what you think. I'm going to include a link to the Discord for that down below for anybody who's interested in contributing or has questions. And that's it for today. And as always, hope you learned something. See you all in the next video. And yeah, I'm gonna practice having this face. I'm gonna practice this. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. It's just gonna take me a little bit of time. Erica, I need you to zoom in on the camera. That's good. All right. See you all next time.